What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Dustin Poirier breaks silence on Conor McGregor rematch. When former champ Conor McGregor broke his leg against Dustin Poirier at UFC 264, he made it clear that the rivalry wasn't over. Of course, while McGregor was eager to secure a rematch, the pair have fought 3 times now, making a 4th fight a hard sell. Ahead of the Diamond's upcoming title fight against Islam Makhachev at UFC 302, the former interim champion spoke with ESPN about the possibility of another fight with McGregor, making it clear that his focus is entirely on UFC gold. I think that ship has sailed. All I want is the UFC lightweight championship. I don't feel the need to fight him again at all. I don't need that bad energy in my life. With McGregor also notably indicating recently that he's more interested in pursuing gold at welterweight rather than recapturing the lightweight title, it sounds as though we may very well never see these two settle things inside the octagon. Should Poirier end up defeating Makhachev in early June, the expectation is that Makhachev would either get an immediate rematch or Arman Tsarukyan would get a crack at the title. Considering the number of exciting fighters competing at 155 pounds, it'll be interesting to see how things play out. Next up, let's take a look at Paddy Pimblett reacts to Bobby Green fight. This summer at UFC 304, the Octagon will head back to Manchester, England, where Paddy the Baddy Pimblett will look to pick up a big win over MMA veteran Bobby Green. While the fight will see the streaking Scouser look to crack into the top 15 of the UFC's lightweight rankings, it will also notably see the Baddy look to pick up his first victory as a father after he and his wife welcomed twins back in April. Leading up to the fight, Pimblett spoke with the Mac Life to discuss the bout, taking aim at his upcoming opponent.
Yeah, he's a proper tool, lad.
Yeah,
he's a proper weapon. Like, he is though. The funniest one is he says, he mentioned me. I didn't mention you. You mentioned me first. So then I mentioned you. You little sausage. No, lad, because everyone talks about me, so it's all the same. But he's just a proper tool, lad. Like, I think he's a proper human being. So it's just a proper wanker, lad. He's saying that I mentioned him first, lad. He's just lying. Why would I mention you? Why would I mention Bobby Green, lad?
Yeah.
Should Pimblett wind up getting the job done against Green, the expectation is that he could then look to compete against number 10 ranked Renato Moicano in his next outing, given the pair's lingering beef. Next up, let's take a look at Belal Muhammad goes off on Sean Strickland. Former UFC middleweight champion Sean Strickland has cemented himself as one of the most polarizing figures in the sport. With his brash personality and controversial opinions, fans have been largely divided over Strickland. During a recent episode of the Money Loyalty Legacy podcast, welterweight number 1 contender Belal Muhammad went off on the former middleweight champ.
This crazy stuff where you look at nowadays where who's the most popular people are Sean Strickland, who says the dumbest things in the world, and people just like him because he says that dumb stuff. So now he just continues to look for dumb stuff to say, but it makes the sport look dumb in general. And if we're a sport that's trying to be like the NBA or NFL or MLB, we got to hold ourselves to higher standards. And as an athlete and as a Muslim, more so than anything, I hold myself to higher standards because I do have those younger Muslim kids out there that are looking up to me and they wouldn't message me. And then when they see me praying or something, it motivates them. And I'd rather have that more so than, you know, the drunk guy at the bar that's like, oh, Bully B's a beast. Because those guys, once you lose, they're going to be the same ones that are saying, oh, you suck.
With Strickland set to fight on the same card as Muhammad's teammate Islam Makhachev at UFC 302, the pair could wind up getting into a confrontation during fight week if the welterweight number 1 contender winds up attending the fight. Next up, let's take a look at UFC updates. Amid an off week for the UFC leading up to UFC 302, let's take a look at today's UFC fight updates, starting with a newly announced fight for UFC 304, with Mick Parkin set to compete against Łukasz Brzezinski in a heavyweight bout that will see Parkin look to extend his unbeaten professional record to 10-0 after rattling off 3 straight wins since signing with the promotion in 2023. On the flip side, his opponent will be looking to build on a win back in April that saw him defeat Walter Walker via decision, snapping a 3-fight skid. This week also saw some news surface regarding light heavyweight contender Khalil Roundtree Jr., who announced recently that he had admitted to accidentally taking a banned substance. Following his voluntary admission, the streaking contender was pulled from his upcoming fight while the Combat Sports Anti-Doping Group that handles the UFC's drug testing investigated the matter. Now, a new development has emerged, indicating that Roundtree has been handed a 2-month suspension after proving that he unknowingly acquired and ingested a product with a banned substance known as DHEA just 2 days before he was drug tested. While he could still face an additional penalty from the Nevada State Athletic Commission, as things stand right now, he will be eligible to fight again on July 5th. A screenshot shared to Roundtree's Instagram story showed a statement from Combat Sports Anti-Doping, which read, in part, "The evidence reflects that as soon as Roundtree realized the mistake, he immediately notified UFC personnel, who immediately passed the information along to CSAD. Combat Sports Anti-Doping consulted with SMRTL, who informed that Roundtree's May 4th sample result was consistent with the above facts, and that Roundtree's short-term use of DHEA in the doses present in the dietary supplement did not provide any significant performance benefits." While Roundtree Jr. has been cleared of knowingly taking the banned substance, a 2-month suspension means that he still won't be able to compete on the UFC 303 card. Next, let's take a look at Kamaru Usman fires back at Conor McGregor. Recently, Conor McGregor took aim at former welterweight champion Kamaru Usman and a number of other current and former champions during a live stream. Ahead of his return to the octagon at the end of June, McGregor ruffled some feathers, calling Usman a bum. During an episode of he and Henry Cejudo's Pound for Pound podcast, the former welterweight champ fired back, calling for a certain level of respect between the two, while revealing that he gave McGregor 2 chances to fight him in the past.
So at the end of the day, you can't go around sitting at where I have a little issue is when you come around and you saying, oh, he's a bum or he's this. You can't say that, Conor. You know, I didn't kick him while he was down. He's had run-ins with the laws. He's had back-to-back incidents and situations, but you never heard me sit there and kick the man while he was down. So there needs to be a level of respect here, because at the end of the day, that's what this sport is all about. I gave Conor 2 opportunities to fight me. 2 opportunities while I was champion. I told him, hey, if you want a crack at that 3rd belt, who better? I was on the run that I was on. Who better than you to come up and fight? And he talked about it. He bounced back and forth. When he wanted to make his return, he said, oh, yeah, maybe I'll go up and grab the 3rd belt. But it is what it is, Conor. My man, I think it's sometimes better that you put that whiskey bottle down and actually, come back to your wits and be a good father and a good role model.
So far, no response yet from McGregor. However, the Irish star will be moving up to welterweight again for his fight with Michael Chandler. Despite that, with Usman most recently competing at middleweight, it's unclear whether or not he will return to 170 pounds, meaning a potential fight between the two may never come to fruition. Next, let's take a look at Mateusz Gamrot calls out Charles Oliveira. After his recent loss to Arman Tsarukyan at UFC 300, Charles Oliveira was dismissive of a potential fight with Mateusz Gamrot, instead indicating that he would prefer to either be the backup fighter for the UFC 303 fight between McGregor and Michael Chandler, or move up to welterweight for a fight with Colby Chaos Covington. The situation has not been sitting well with Gamrot, who took to social media to call the former lightweight champ out for avoiding a fight with him, writing, "I asked to fight Oliveira, but he called out Colby instead. Guy who only fights once a year and is 2-3 since 2019. We thought you were better than that, Charles do Bronx. You know I'll give you fire on the ground, but maybe that's why you'd rather fight Colby." While Oliveira is looking to return to action later this summer in July or August, he's made it clear that he doesn't want to fight down in the rankings, stating that with all due respect to Gamrot, he's not interested in fighting anyone ranked below him. Taking a look at the UFC's lightweight rankings, this would mean that Oliveira is only willing to fight Islam Makhachev for the title, or Arman Tsarukyan in a rematch of their UFC 300 lightweight title eliminator, unless he were to move up and fight Colby Covington. Now, let's shift gears and take a look at Belal Muhammad says Leon Edwards is the easiest fight in top 5. Although Belal Muhammad may be sitting as a betting underdog ahead of his UFC 304 fight with Leon Edwards, the streaking contender is confident that a fight with Edwards is the easiest fight in the top 5 of the welterweight division. While making the podcast rounds recently, Muhammad spoke about his upcoming title fight at UFC 304 on the Show Me the Money podcast, where he fired off some shots at his longtime rival.
I don't think there's anybody in the world that could be in there with me. And I think, honestly, if I'm being honest, I think he's the easiest guy in the top 5. So stylistically for myself, yeah. Because he's breakable. We've seen him in the Usman fight, and my mentality is to try to break you. And I think that the style that Usman brought in that second fight of walking him down, high volume on him, taking him down, letting him back up, beating him up, getting to the point where, bro, he was looking down. His coach had to motivate him to get up. Yeah. When you see his corners, there's never advice in the corner yo, let's hit this jab, let's hit that. It's always bro, beautiful, Leon, come on, brother. They're trying to give him motivation because he's weak mentally. And I'm the strongest mentally fighter in the UFC.
Of course, the upcoming UFC 304 fight between the two will see Muhammad look to get revenge on the champ for their infamous 2021 bout that ended after an accidental eye poke from Rocky. After much uncertainty regarding whether or not he would get a crack at the title, Muhammad now finds himself within arm's reach of UFC gold, with the stakes at an all-time high. Next up, let's take a look at MMA community reacts to Michael Chandler body transformation. With just over 5 weeks to go until UFC 303, where former Bellator MMA champion Michael Chandler and former champ Conor McGregor will compete inside the octagon in a highly anticipated 5-round headliner, Iron Mike shared a photo of his physique. While some fans were left speechless, others disagreed. As one fan wrote, "He looks horrible. He should pull out and let Poirier or Oliveira step in." Another disagreed on Chandler's physique, but indicated that it wouldn't matter, writing, "It's not going to help him. Those muscles will burn so much energy." Another wrote, "Working out this much for max 2 rounds, Conor is going to shut his lights out." As one fan joked, "He never looks like this on fight night either way. MF always looks fat and bloated as F inside the cage." One member of the MMA community simply wrote, "#steroids." Another joked about Paulo Costa's signature secret juice drink, writing, "Secret juice." With the fight just over a month away, the two still have some time to continue preparations before the final weight cut begins. However, given that the fight will be contested at welterweight, the expectation is that both McGregor and Chandler will both enter the fight fresher than if the bout took place at 155.